to, not the second canto. We'll do the second canto soon. But today we'll do the second chapter. We'll finish the second chapter. Yeah. So I'm going to just go over the second chapter at a steady pace. And when it comes to the Anartha Nivritti, I'm going to elaborate. Those were the topics that we have been wanting to discuss. Yeah. And the last two questions of why did Lord Krishna appear on earth and what are Purushavataras? Those are the two questions that are addressed in the second chapter. So we'll go over all of those in this class today. Okay. And next week, I think, I don't remember, Prabhuji, he will be taking the class from Fiji. So I will be out of town next week. So that Prabhuji from Fiji, he will be taking the class. And after that, Adidev Prabhu, he will be taking Katha for about 4 weeks or so.
Mataji, Vishwanath Prabhu will take it on the 24th of June.
Vishwanath Prabhu, yes, thank you, Prabhu. So
24th of June.
Yes, that's next week, hai na, Prabhu?
I don't think so, Mataji.
No, not next week.
Okay, then we'll talk offline then, Prabhu.
We will talk offline about that.
We'll talk offline. Okay. Yeah. So, but in any case, we will do the second chapter today. Yeah. And then the third chapter, I guess we will do it after a few weeks, maybe in July, sometime in July. Yeah. So that's the plan to do the second chapter today. We'll go ahead and start. Shall we go ahead and start with your permission, all of you? Yeah, good. That's Abhanga. I really want to read this. Abhanga is a form of devotional poetry sung in praise of the Hindu Lord Vittal, that's Lord Krishna. The word Abhanga comes from a noun and bhang, ending or interrupting. In other words, a flawless, continuous process. This is like Haituki Apratihata. Yatma Suprasidati. The bhakti is all about flawless, continuous process. By contrast, the devotional songs known as bhajans focus on the inward journey. Oh, okay. Abhangs are more exuberant expressions of the communitarian experience. Abhangs are sung during pilgrimage to the temples of Pandaripur. Bhakti is so beautiful. We have something to express outside. We have something to express what's happening inside. Beautiful. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you. So I'm going to share the screen now. The second chapter. All right. Yes, you're able to see?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, thank you. That's Srimad Bhagavatam. Let's start. First chapter in 1 minute. That's about the 3 slokas about Srimad Bhagavatam, about Lord Shri Krishna, and invitation of Srimad Bhagavatam, invitation by Srimad Bhagavatam to relish Bhakti Rasa, and the 6 questions by Naimisharanya sages. The first 2 questions are, what is the ultimate good for humanity? And what's the essence of all scriptures? Answer for both of these 2 questions is devotional service, bhakti. Yeah? And the other 4 questions are, why did Lord appear on the earth? What are Purushavataras, Leelavasaras, and where did Dharma take its shelter after Lord disappeared? That's chapter 1. And after asking these questions, Naimisharanya sages, they invite Suta Goswami to please take the Vyasasana. And then Suta Goswami, he offers his invocation prayers to his immediate guru, that is Sukadeva Goswami, and to Vyasamuni. And then he thanks all the Naimisharanya sages for their wonderful questions. They are wonderful because of two components. First, because they are related to Lord Krishna. And by default, all those questions related to Lord Krishna they do cause Lokamangala, auspiciousness. So after thanking the Naimisharanya sages, Suta Goswami, he starts answering the questions and explaining the answers. So the first answer, the answer for the first two questions is bhakti, devotional service. What is devotional service? Devotional service is savai pumsam parodharma, yatho bhaktir adhokshaje, parodharma, the supreme occupation. Devotional service is supreme occupation to Adokshaja, Lord Sri Krishna. And how is that performed? Ahaituki, apratihata. It is performed uninterruptedly. And there is no cause to perform it because it's a natural occupation of the soul to the super soul, Lord Krishna. And what happens when that bhakti is performed like that? With nothing, expecting nothing, and when it is going on uninterruptedly, yayatma suprasidati, complete satisfaction of the soul. And that is bhakti. So bhakti is the devotional service that flows from the soul to the super soul, that's Lord Sri Krishna, which is uninterrupted and has no cause to perform that service, and gives complete satisfaction to the self. So that is our, that is our kind of, a scale for us to measure. And also our compass in devotional service. If we are actually performing real bhakti or not. Is this bhakti causing yayatma suprasidati? Is it causing that satisfaction to me and to the people around? Then if the compass is showing right, then the bhakti is going the right way. But if it is causing not so happy inside or not so happy outside, then the compass needs to be adjusted a little bit. So this is the compass for us, the definition of bhakti. Yeah. And this is done under guidance. So what happens when someone performs that bhakti? Naturally, they develop detachment to anything that is not permanent, to anything that is material. And they also develop knowledge, real knowledge. Real knowledge is the knowledge about what is temporary and knowledge about what is permanent. And the details of what is permanent. That is knowledge about Lord Sri Krishna. All those things, they are by default, they are byproducts of bhakti. And how does Varnashrama Dharma help somebody in bhakti? All the occupational duties are meant to help facilitate one's bhakti. And if that is not happening, then those occupational duties are mere mechanical labor, getting stuck in the karma cycle. If those same occupational duties are done to please Lord or facilitating bhakti, then they help us to come out of the karma cycle. Yeah. So Varnashrama Dharma is meant to facilitate bhakti. And after explaining that, Suta Goswami, he explains different stages in bhakti. That's progression in flow of bhakti. Okay? The first stage, a person gets in touch with the bhakti lata of a devotee. Causeless mercy. This is causeless mercy. Okay? After getting in touch with the devotee, then that is Satam Kripa, then they will start performing some devotional service to that pure devotee, Mahat Seva. Service to pure devotee, either directly, physical service, Vapu Seva or Vani Seva by practicing, understanding and practicing the instructions, and also simultaneously performing some physical seva in order to accomplish the mood of that mahat, of that pure devotee. So these are different sevas that are performed to a pure devotee. Either Vapu Seva or Vani Seva. Vani Seva is following the instructions. But we have this body to do. What do we do? So we also have to do some service with this body under the instructions of a bona fide spiritual master in order to please this Mahat, the pure devotee. So when we continue to perform service like that, both externally with this body and then under the guidance and instructions, then the Shraddha develops. The faith, whatever faith was scattered before, slowly that gets a little more condensed, dense, and everything starts making sense. The words in the Bhagavad Gita starts making sense, and then the process of bhakti starts making sense like that. So at that time, then the person will feel inspired to take up the process of bhakti and incorporate that in their life to progress forward. That's when they take Guru Padashraya. Yeah, that is Sharanagati of the process of bhakti through Sri Guru. That's Guru Padashraya. At this stage, the commitment happens and the sadhaka performs sadhana on a daily basis. And that is bhajana kriya. When sadhana is performed on daily basis, that's bhajana kriya. Devotees getting together, reading and hearing Krishna Katha and Kirtan together and discussing together, that's bhajana kriya. And during that process, all the anartha nivritti happens. And these are the slokas pertaining to that. Shrinvatam svakataha Krishna punya shravana kirtanaha hridantasto hi abhadrani vidhunoti sutrit satam. So when they do this process of bhakti every day, all the abhadrani, misgivings, and all the material attachments that are binding us to this material world, all the inclinations, the enjoying tendencies, all those are slowly vidhunoti, washed away by the Paramatma in the heart as we continue to do the process of bhakti every day. And when that vidhunoti happens, when the cleansing in the heart happens, when the material desires gets washed away, then there is not so much of inclination and rush to enjoy things from outside. That's why nashta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttamasloke bhakti bhavati naishtiki nishta. In this way, the devotee continues sadhana regularly. And when we do regular sadhana like this, japa in the morning, kada in the evening, everything in between, this is Nityam Bhagavata Sevya. Not only externally doing, but constant introspection of how can we get better. This is really Nityam Bhagavata Sevya. And whatever progress that one may make over a period of years, over many years, if somebody is doing Nityam Bhagavata Sevya like this with introspection, the very same progress, they can make it in a shorter period of time. It's like that with anything. When you put focus on it and when you put time on it, we get better. In the same way, it's the same thing. So, nashta prayeshu abhadreshu. All these abhadras, all these anarthas, they are all cleared with Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. and we come to a stage called Nishta. That is steadiness, the 8th stage here. And after Nishta comes Sthitam Sattve Prasidati. There is not so much of agitation in Chitta anymore. When all the waves in the Chittas, the ups and downs, the waves in the Chitta start settling down, and there are not so prominent waves in there, and when the Chitta is almost kind of steady, with just a few ripples here and there, that is Ruchi. And in Ruchi, there is not much effort to do bhakti. They just want to do and do. Not that they don't have problems outside. They do, but they have got so much of taste from within for the process of devotional service. Like we read, the auspicious mark on the lotus feet of Lord Hari, calf's hoof print, the water in the calf's hoof print. This is the stage. Tapanti vividas tapanaita madkata chetasaha. There are tapas going on, as it goes on with everybody, as it was going before. Adi Daiva, Adi Bhautika, Adhyatmika tapas are going on. But the devotees' taste for bhakti has gone so much that they are not disturbed by the tapas anymore. Because, remember the picture, the kalasha in the lotus feet of Lord Hari with the nectar there? They got the taste of it. They're actually drinking it, the amrita. Because they're drinking the amrita, tasting the nectar, they're not so much concerned about the material ocean miseries. It all becomes very small for them. So this is the stage where there is internal propulsion, ruchi for the Harinam, for the devotion. So the whole perspective changes here. Most of the transformation has happened by this time to the devotee. So that is the stage of ruchi. And after the ruchi comes asakti. In this stage, we will know abhasa, swarupa abhasa, our spiritual form. A faint realization of spiritual form is given in this stage, asakti. And as the bhajan goes on, then next stage is bhava, rati. In this stage, the devotee hardly knows that he is in the body. And by this time, he is seeing Lord Krishna in his chitta during bhajan. Yeah, and he's able to see the pastimes. And by the stage of prema, he's able to see the Lord and see the pastimes. And when he wants to actually enter physically into the pastimes, then he quits the body. But until then, he was still able to be in the pastimes, in the bhajan, in the consciousness. But the soul is still within the body though. So when he physically wants to enter into the pastimes, then he has to quit this mortal body and then take birth in Vraja. That's when darshanam of Lord Krishna and Vraja happens face to face. And Harir Madhuryanubhavam, then directly there, if it is a Madhurya Rasa, then he would be able to enter into the pastimes in that rasa. And if there are other rasas, then the pastimes pertaining to other rasas. That's how they enter into the pastimes. These are the stages of bhakti. 9 stages are described in Srimad Bhagavatam, and they are elaborated as 14 stages by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And so all this was discussed in this form also, the Bhakti Lata Bij, where the whole thing starts with Shraddha here. And please remember, Krishna Prema is already present within us. The potential for it, a droplet of it, a potential for it is already present. But when we associate with the devotees, and when we take the process of Sharanagati to the process of bhakti. And when Sharanagati to the instructions of the Gurus is happening, then the Sambit Shakti from the Lord flows even further, even more. And that's why all the rest of the stages happen pretty fast. So these stages are described from Shraddha till Prema. So as we discussed, in the very beginning also, a little droplet of potential for Krishna Prema is present. And Anartha Nivritti, as gradually Anartha Nivritti happens, Nishta grows bigger. So all these stages are not like clear-cut demarcation, like one stage stop and the next stage begin SNA. They are all overlaps. Like if there are 100% anarthas in the very beginning, no, it cannot be 100% anarthas. We don't want to have such a grim picture. Maybe so let's do 95% anarthas. Then there may be 4% of ruchi, 4% of nishta, 3% of ruchi, 2% of bhava, 1% of prema. Yeah, and as we move on, anarthas come from 95% to 70% to 60% to 50% to 40, 50. No, go down, please. 40, 30, 20, 10 until bhava. In bhava stage, there are no anarthas done, but the effect of the anarthas that were done in the journey that was done prior in the initial stages, that vasana will remain in bhava stage. In prema stage, there are no anarthas at all, but still, because in prema stage, I'll give you this example. Srila Rupa Goswami, he was in his bhajan samadhi, and as he was in samadhi, he was laughing. And just at that time, a devotee was passing by. And the devotee was limping. The devotee that was passing by was actually limping. So that devotee thought Rupa Goswami was looking at him and laughing at him. But what actually was happening was, so that devotee was hurt because he thought he was laughed at. But what actually happened was Rupa Goswami was in Bhajan Samadhi and he was in Krishna Leela, and there was some Leela going on. And that Leela was more of, a jovial one where everybody was just laughing together. So he laughed. That is in Prema, where they are not so much aware that they're in the body. They're most of the times in the pastimes. But even then, they don't mean to do anarthas. They have no inclination whatsoever. But these kind of involuntary repercussions that can happen just because the devotee is still present in the material body. Yeah, that is the last stage of anartha here in prema, where the devotee does not do any anartha, but just because is present in the material body, it appears as an anartha. After that, when devotee quits the material body, then he enters the Bhauma Vrindavan. So we discussed all that from the beginning till prema and further to darshanam and Harimadhurya Anubhava. All done, we good, but we wanted to focus more on where we are at. this at the bottom. We will go further later, but we wanted to focus here. So what happens to us when we take up the process of bhakti? Two things happen. Kleshagni, the miseries, are subjugated, and Shubhada, auspiciousness, is invited. And we talked about that in detail, right? How does the miseries go away? These are the 5 stages we have described, but I want to bring your attention to this very first one, because if you see the flow, the rest of the miseries are because of this one. If we pay attention to just this one, then rest of the miseries also will come down. Because avidya is here, avidya is, Jiva is thinking that he is independent. Vidya is, Jiva acknowledges the dependence on Krishna. Okay, that one point. For practical purposes, instead of thinking like, we have to have an identity. So if we think, I belong to Sri Guru and Krishna, and if all the thought process and actions are based on that, then most of the kleshagni, rest of the kleshagnis, they are curtailed. So this thing, that is basically, I belong to Sri Guru and Krishna, is taking, again, the Sharanagati of Guru's instructions and shelter. Yeah. So when that is taken, the rest of the kleshas are also eradicated. So we discussed about kleshagni. We also discussed about the karma cycle. Yeah, how the whole karma cycle is eradicated. How bhakti is powerful, that it breaks the karma cycle at the very beginning itself, the sinful proclivity, and all the stages are eradicated by bhakti. Because yat pada pankaja palasa vilasa bhaktya, because the devotees are engaged in the service of the toes of the lotus feet of Lord Hari. That's about how kleshas are gone. All kind of kleshas are gone when we identify ourselves as the dear servant of Sri Guru and Krishna. And what are the auspiciousness that come? We talked about this. Shubhada. Shubhada. When somebody practices devotion, it's wholehearted submission. All these qualities, they come to the sadhaka. This is unlike somebody cultivating the qualities of goodness. That can also be done. Cultivating qualities of goodness is okay. That can be done. But what Bhagavatam is speaking about is Shubha Da. Auspiciousness, giving. So bhakti is giving these auspicious qualities. How does that happen? With wholehearted submission. So when that is done, again, wholehearted submission may not happen all of a sudden. Again, it's a process. So over a period of time, then these qualities come to the devotees. Those are all more or less the mode of goodness qualities, wonderful qualities. Peaceful, non-violent, no envy, compassion, awesome, awesome. And more than anything, abhaya, fearlessness. This is because devotee is always dependent on Lord Krishna as Paramatma. Bhayam abhiniveshatya. So bhayam comes when we see something as separate from Krishna. Because devotee sees everything in relevance to Krishna, the fearlessness goes away. So, because he's always with Paramatma, under the shelter of Paramatma, there is no fearlessness. So all these wonderful, auspicious qualities come to the devotee as they practice bhakti. And these very qualities, they help us practice bhakti and take us back to the spiritual realm. Unlike the qualities of goodness, which can bind us to this material realm. Discussed about that too. Awesome. We have finished these 2 leaves here in the very beginning. Shubhada and Kleshagni. Done. We're good with that. But see these things here? The waves. We are very familiar with these waves. Up and down and down. and down. We don't want so much up, so much down. But that's where, that's just a stage, and all of us have to pass through that. So let's know something about it. Ready? This is the core subject matter for today. Yeah? More or less, we are all wet in these waves now. All of us. The only thing that is different for all of us is how big are our waves, the crest and troughs. Yeah? So that is Anishtita Bhakti. Means there is no Nishta, there is up and down Bhakti. Anishtita Bhakti is up and down Bhakti, basically. Yeah? Because there are waves going up and down, these are the things that would happen to us. Internally, Utsahamai. Wow, very enthusiastic. I feel very enthusiastic. I want to do this service. I want to do this service every day. And I want to chant 64 rounds. Is 16 okay, fine, but I want to try 64 rounds too. The wave is up and it is down. Whoa, this service really needed. Can I just not think of Krishna in my mind? Isn't that bhakti? Do I really have to do something outside? Well, do I really have to get initiated? Bhakti is about internal things. So I can just think of Krishna. When the wave is down like that, and whoa, when it goes up again, that's Utsaham. So up and down enthusiasm inside. But slowly, it gets more steady. The enthusiasm gets is translated to more of deeper determination down the road. Yeah, that's about internal enthusiasm. Next, Ghanatharala. So this internal Utsahamai, up and down enthusiasm, is generally exhibited as thick and thin service outside. Yeah, doing a lot. I am really doing a lot of service. Wow. Both in Utsahamai and Ghanatharala, what we tend to think is it can happen with all of us because this is a process that all of us go through. Then we think, wow, I am doing a lot of service. And I think I'm doing wonderful service too. It doesn't seem like anybody else is doing so well as I am. So I am better than anybody else. Yeah? This kind of feeling comes to us in many shades. Why is that person doing only that much service? They have to do this much. And then we start thinking like that. Why is that person doing service like that? It's supposed to be done like this. So all the rules and regulations are meant for me, not to really judge others. But in the beginning stages, that's what we think, tend to think about others. ऐसे क्यों कर रहे हो? ऐसे नहीं करना है ना? It should not be done that way, and they shouldn't be doing only that much service. They also have to do more. So it's more of Bahirmukha. So Bahirmukha Bhakti, Anishtita Bhakti is Bahirmukha Bhakti. Our focus has gone out, not so much within. And the other thing is Vyuda Vikalpa. Here, I have just started practicing Bhakti. I just got initiated, and here I am thinking, what do I do with my job now? I really want to go and live in Vrindavan. I don't want to work anymore. This is all very temporary. I want to just go. But I just don't want to do this job. I just want to keep chanting the whole day. I just want to keep doing service the whole day. Oh no, how can I be like that? I have family. So my job karna hi padega. Oh, I can't go to Vrindavan. Do I go or not? Do I do this job or not? Shall I just leave the whole thing? So a lot of energy and focus is spent in decision making, not decisive yet. So all these decisions are made by many people on a day-to-day basis. ये तो regular है. But because we are kind of stuck there, our time and energy is invested so much in, I do this, or I do that. What do I do? Like that. But as we pass through this stage, then decision making gets easier for us. We try to be more practical. We understand we are in this material world. We understand we have limitations, but we also realize that we want to practice bhakti. So we will strike that balance by internal steadiness. That happens as we move on further. Yeah. And Niyamaksha, the same thing. I really want to get rid of this anarthas overnight. I want to get rid of it in 1 week. And maybe if I can just get to Ruchi next 1 month, it would be wonderful. Enthusiasm is really good. But the problem is we tend to get disappointed when we don't have the result. If we are not getting Ruchi within 1 month, we may get disappointed. That's the Niyamakshana. So for that, vows. We take vows of we want to do this, we want to do that, like that. But we will have a little difficulty of maintaining the vows in the beginning. But later on again, the waves will slow down, the up and down will slowly get less wavy. Then the clarity happens, and we will not take the vows so soon. And if we take them, we do them. That happens as we get to the steadiness more. But we just have to recognize that this is a stage that all of us pass through, just that it may be more conspicuous in some of us and not so in others. The last one we want to know is Tarangarangini. Here, when we start practicing bhakti, because of the etiquette of bhakti, we tend to respect each other and we follow the etiquette, right? And all those outsiders, people who are really sincere and who respect bhakti, when they see the devotees, they respect the devotees because of the bhakti that they are doing. So all that respect is for the bhakti. But in the initial stages, we tend to get affected with the respect that is being offered. Yeah. And we also tend to get affected with the hurt that is incurred. Both of them come in bhakti. As much as the respect comes to the devotee, there will be criticism also that the devotee will be faced in bhakti. Both of them happen. So in the beginning, we get affected both by the respect that comes to us and the criticism that comes to us. This is the hardest one. In Anishtita Bhakti, the other 4 things can somehow be, we can keep an eye on them and then try to smoothen them. But this is a hard one, Tarangarangini. We have to be vigilant. And it may not be so hard not to get affected with the praise and recognition, but it can be difficult when the criticism is, when you are criticized in spite of you doing best. So we have to just be vigilant and then do the service for the pleasure of Guru and Gauranga and then move on. That will come in the stage of Nishtha. In the beginning, we may get slightly affected, but as we move on, all those waves, we just let the waves pass by. Not touch them anymore. Just do the service for Guru and Krishna. So this is what happens in the beginning stages of bhakti. We have to know that this is a phase. So if we tend to think like, okay, what are the take-home points for us, application points? If we see ourselves like that, we just have to realize that we are in Anishtita stage. And we want to continue to be introspective and not be concerned much about outsiders. That way, we will not do any aparadas unknowingly. That's one thing. Second point, praise will come, criticism will come. And our bhakti process is to get attached to Lord Krishna and offer service with all fondness. The praise and criticism will come and go. We want to be vigilant, and we, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur has said, Bhakti is about the process, Ardha Pravritti, not Anardha Nivritti. So not paying attention to the praise and criticism much and moving on to Ardha Pravritti, that's loving devotional service to Lord Krishna. I don't know if this is being recorded. Sorry. I'm interrupting. Harivenu Prabhu. Sorry, Prabhu. Is it being recorded?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Because we are summarizing the whole second chapter. Thank you, Prabhu. So that's Anushtika Bhakti. Please do not get disappointed at all. Even if the waves are zoom up and down. No disappointment. This is just a passing phase. Only two things to keep in mind. One is trying to be introspective. Eyes inside, not outside. And second thing is, praise will come, criticism will come, only to make us strong and immune and get attached to Guru and Krishna. These 2 points. And this phase will pass through. With the sincerity that we have and with the regularity of the practice that we do, Lord Krishna sees all our efforts. So this phase is going to pass. Transfer. So please remember, nothing to be discouraged. This is more like a FYI. This is just a quick phase. Quick phase. Could be weeks, months, lifetimes, but still not to be disappointed. It's a passing phase. So as the waves slow down, the up and down come, this is beautiful. This is what is going to happen to us. Please note, if you are seeing any of these qualities coming to you, even a little bit, please celebrate. Say, thank you Prabhupada, thank you Krishna. So what are those stages? When we do the Harinam, we will not feel sleepy. And there is no laziness. And this is reflected outside as alertness and enthusiasm in service. Does this just come automatically? No, not really. This is a constant effort, volunteer effort. Initially, it will be a volunteer effort from Anardha Nivritti till Nishtha. After that, it flows on. But since we are in this stage now, we can cultivate this. Even though if we are not feeling very enthusiastic to do the service that is there in front of us, then I acknowledge. I don't feel very enthusiastic. I feel down. I don't even feel like doing this service. I acknowledge. But I am putting volunteer effort. I will try to be enthusiastic. That we can do. And over a period of time, Utsaha Nishchaya Dhairya, as Srila Rupa Goswami said, they will become a part of our nature. That will take us to Nishtha. But initially, this is work in progress and it will yield results. So voluntarily, we have to be enthusiastic in the service, and voluntarily during the Harinam, doing the Harinam enthusiastically, and that will attract Krishna. Even if we are faking enthusiasm, Krishna will think, Bichara, ye to fake to kar raha hai, at least let me give a little taste. Nothing goes unseen. Nothing goes unseen. Lord Krishna is sitting in the heart. So everything will be rewarded. Yeah. So that's the first thing in Nishta. Yeah, we are alert and enthusiastic. And good thing is in Nishta, not that we are automatically alert and enthusiastic. The laziness or disappointment may be there, but it will not pull us down. We will still try to maintain to be enthusiastic with some effort. Yeah. And the mind, if it is not going here and there too many times, too far during Harinam, then that means that's a Nishta Bhakti. Yeah? And that same thing reflects outside. When we are doing service, then we are more focused also in Nishta Bhakti. The third point is, this is getting more subtler. Have you noticed? Laya, sleepy. This is mind agitation, and this is really subtle, if you notice this. Pratipatti, indifference. I may be doing the Harinam. I may not be thinking about anything else, but still I'm not thinking of Krishna. But still I am not sensitive to the Lord present in the holy name. I still don't have soft-heartedness for the Lord in the holy name. Yeah, this is getting more subtle. The heart is still hard. It's not soft yet. Lord Krishna likes that butter. Why does he like that butter? Because it's just so soft that it melts even with the temperature of our, the body of our fingers. Itna soft hai. That kind of heart Lord Krishna likes. That's why he's so much fond of butter, Navanita. But when we're doing Harinam, we are not really so sensitive to the Lord in the Harinam. We don't feel for him. We feel so much for us. Yeah, so much. We are filled with so much for us. But there's not much for him. So that is the hard-heartedness, apathy, indifference. It's like you said you would help a person, and say you knock the door, okay, they open the door and you are there to help, and the person is really struggling around, with the chores in the home, and you went there to help and they opened the door, you're sitting in the couch only. Bas aise hi dekh rahe, yeah, I came here to help, yes, I will help, yeah, I will help, I'm looking it, I will help when I can. Yeah. It's like that, apathy. Harinam aise hi kar rahe hum log. Yeah, Krishna, I know I called you, you came, Krishna, I know, Krishna, yeah. When the stage of Anartha Nivritti happens, and when my Nama Paradas goes, then maybe then I'll be able to focus a little bit on Krishna. I know you are there in the Harinam. Yeah, Krishna, but I have so much going on in my life, Krishna. Yeah, I know you are there. Yeah, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Yeah, all right. So that's Kashaya. We don't realize, but we are Kashaya. Otherwise, we would have been pure-hearted devotees by this time, full of Jiva Daya, Vaishna Seva flowing all the time, and greatest Nama Ruchi ever. Why isn't that happening? Excuse me. Itna Kashaya hai inside, full of me, of how much I'm going through. Itna efforts mein kar rahe. I'm doing so much of bhakti. There is no progress at all, and this and that and this and that. Everything about me. Nothing about Krishna. So that is Pratipatti Kashaya. So these things will go away in Nishta Bhakti. Yeah, and the same will be reflected with the interactions with the devotees and services. Everything Everything makes sense here. Whatever is happening inside with Krishna will happen outside with the devotees and the people around. This is Nishtha Bhakti. This is a beautiful one here. Now this is getting to Ruchi. See, when we are doing Harinam, after we are fed up with being full about ourselves, as we do the Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, and as we continue to put our efforts, Thakurji, deke. Then they're like, itna efforts to put, they're putting so much effort, so let me just open the doors a little bit. Then we'll be like, we'll start thinking about us less. Because we'll be like, wait a minute, I think I am chanting, but Krishna is in the holy name. This is good. Why am I? There is something about this chanting. It's not just mechanical words. Hey, Thakurji, hey, wahan pe. What I've been doing all this time? In my own bubble? No. I should be feeling for Krishna in the holy name. Oh my God. Krishna, you've been in the holy name all these years while I'm chanting with such hard-heartedness, and you have tolerated me, and you're still sitting there waiting for me to look at you, and you're not angry with me. You're very hopeful, Krishna. And I'm so sorry. You know, I'm just a jiva. Yeah, just a jiva, very insignificant. So please excuse me, and I would want to really pay attention to you, my Lord. I really want to serve you. I acknowledge I don't have the strength. I also acknowledge my determination is not deep. I also acknowledge that my desire is very flickering. But, dear Lord, please be kind. Please be kind upon me. That's the Dainya in Sharanagati. First stage opens the door. That's the Rasavada. That's when the doors of material rasa start to close. A lot of my, that noise thinking, the chaos starts to settle down. Then we'll realize, okay, Thakurji, aap yahan pe hai. What did I do all this time? Maaf karna, please. Kuch to karna, please. Please engage me in your service. Ainanda Tanuja Kinkara, Patitam me, Vishami Bhavam Buddha, Kripaya, Tava Pada Pankaja, Stita Dhuli, Sadrisham Vichintaya. That's Bhakti Rasa starts there. Real Bhakti starts there. Until then, it was all Bhakti Abhasa, struggling. But still, that was all a phase, a preparatory phase to real Bhakti to start. Without all that efforts that we put in, we will not be able to attract the mercy of the Lord. And as we just discussed, nothing goes unnoticed. The mercy starts to flow. And this is what happens. So if any of these things are happening to you, then we want to say, thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Gurudev, Thakurji. Thank you. And it will just, those drops of mercy, they only get bigger and bigger and bigger. Because it is mercy. It's not something that we do. We keep asking, we keep praying, we keep serving. That's all from our side. Keep praying, keep serving, keep praying, keep serving. That's it. That's all we can do when the ball is in our court. Rest of it is all by Sri Guru and Thakurji to take us forward to further stages in Bhakti. That is Nishtha Bhakti. Beautiful one. I mean, if Nishtha can be this beautiful, what can the other stages be like? Okay, this is the last one. So that was the whole point, to focus more on this initial part. Yeah, about Kleshagni, Shubhada, and what happens in Anishtita Bhakti or Anartha Nivritti, and what happens in Nishtha Bhakti. And just a quick FYI, when we go through the stages of bhakti like this, we have discussed it here, right? Till Nishta. What happens is, by this time, the Sharanagati is complete by the stage of Nishta and Ruchi. Yeah. All the Papa and Punya that we have done so far, and whatever lifetimes, they are all gone now. Karma free, full out of karma cycle, totally out of karma cycle. Since the process of Sharanagati is almost complete here. Sharanagati to Sri Guru. Sharanagati to Krishna through Sri Guru is almost complete by this time. So whatever punya we had will be gone out of good karma cycle. Whatever papa we had is all gone out of bad karma cycle. So we are out of both good and bad karma cycle. And the other thing is the aparadas in bhakti. Remember, we just discussed. They can go up until prema. They don't mean to do the aparadas in prema, but they may look like aparadas because those pure devotees in the bhajan samadhi, they may be in the transcendental world and they are mistaken by people around. So they may look like aparadas, but they don't do aparadas. So those aparadas can see in this picture, aparadas starting from here, from the Shraddha. Please see, a vasana will remain until bhava, and it may look like a devotee is doing aparada in prema. So these anardhas, nama aparadas, Vaishnava aparadas, seva aparadas, those are different aparadas. So we don't want to be conscious about the anardhas. They will fall away. Don't have to be bewildered. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakura said this. A sadhaka doesn't have to be bewildered by the anarthas. They should continue with the process of bhakti with their goal as artha, love of Godhead. Because if we are focused more on anarthas, we tend to get more negative. Those anarthas will fall away anyway. Our focus should be on how can I serve properly? That is the focus. Yeah. Prema bhakti, that is artha. That's it about Anishtita bhakti, Nishta, different stages. We have done it all. Awesome. These two things, last two questions in the chapter 2, they are quick. So far, the first two questions are answered, right? About bhakti, different stages of bhakti, byproducts of bhakti, and Vasudeva is the only goal of bhakti. All answered. Then third question, why did Lord Krishna appear on the earth? That Sudha Goswami did not answer first. He answered the fourth question first. What are Purushavataras? Purushavataras are 3 in short. Mahavishnu, from whom all the universes come out, that's the first Purushavatara. It's called Mahavishnu or Karnodaka Sai Vishnu. He is the Paramatma of the entire material creation of all the universes. Okay? This Mahavishnu or Karnodaka Sai Vishnu, from him comes the Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu. For each universe, there is one Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu. So he's second Paramatma. So Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu is the Paramatma of the entire universe, that single universe. Multiple universes come out, right? So for each universe, there is one Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu. So in one universe, from Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu comes out Kshirodaka Sai Vishnu. And he is lying down on the milk ocean. And this Kshirodaka Sai Vishnu is the Paramatma that is present in every living entity. Yeah? Those are the three Purusha avatars. After giving answer to that, then he comes to the third question. Because when the material creation has to happen, all these Purusha avatars has to come. First, all the material universes have to come from Karmadaka Sai Vishnu. And then each material universe has to be occupied by Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu. And then the Brahma has to come from the Nabhi of Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu. And then the 14 planetary systems come. And after that, Lord Krishna appears on the earth. That's why the fourth question was answered first and the third question later. And why did Lord Krishna appear on earth? We already know. Simple, quick answer. This was given in Bhagavad Gita also. Paritranaya sadhuna vinashaya chadushkrita. To kill the enemies, that any avatara can do. If Lord Krishna thinks or Lord Vishnu, he just have to think. He doesn't have to descend down to kill individually. So vinashaya chadushkritam can happen even with the incarnations of the Lord also. But why does the Lord himself, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Purna Purusha, Akhila Rasamrita Sindhu, why does he need to descend down on earth? Because only he can show all the pastimes on the earth in 5 different rasas. And those pastimes, these are the pastimes that's going to attract the devotees and pious people. So to attract all those pious people and devotees with his pastimes, to perform those pastimes, he appears onto the earth. That's the reason why Krishna appears on the earth. We did it. The whole second chapter done. And the last question, this about the Leela Avataras. And where does Dharma take its shelter after Lord Krishna disappears? They are discussed in the third chapter, but we are finished with the second chapter. Yeah. So I am going to close the screen. Take your reflections, questions, but I want to let you read this too so you feel complete that we have done whole second chapter. Remember last time we have Vasudeva Kadara, Vasudeva Parodharma, Vasudeva Paramakaha. Okay. I think that is in the 26th, 30th there. But this is the last sloka to make you feel like, yes, we finished. We are done with the second chapter. This is all about creation. Yeah, this is the last one. Why does Lord Krishna appear? Thus, the Lord of the universes maintains all planets inhabited by demigods, men and lower animals, assuming the roles of incarnations. He performs pastimes to reclaim those in the mode of pure goodness. Whoever are ready to come back home, back to Godhead, this is an invitation for you. To give that invitation, Lord Krishna appears on the earth to perform those pastimes in all those 5 different rasas, especially Madhurya Rasa. You know why? In our conditional life, we have some do's and don'ts of Madhurya Rasa. And it is almost unimaginable, unfathomable that God, Supreme Lord, Madhurya Rasa, that to Parakiya Rasa, what is happening here? That will pull most of the conditioned souls towards the Lord, at least with that sense of inquisitiveness. What is going on here? Is he really a Lord? Man, tell me about your Lord now. Britishers. That's how they started, right? And they got very curious about what you call him as God. So that is the potency. That is the unique thing about that particular rasa. Yeah, Madhurya Paratya rasa. If Lord Krishna would not do that rasa, then the casual understanding of Lord, okay, Dasya Bhava, that is very well known. When Jesus Christ came to Dasya Bhava, even Vatsalya Bhava, when Lord Christ came, he said, Father in the heaven. So Dasya Bhava was prevailing until then. So Dasya and Vatsalya Bhava was also prevailing. But Lord Krishna is a Purna Purusha. And this is the reason why he performs all the pastimes that he performs, to attract our attention. And just because attention is attracted, not everybody is eligible to come back home to Godhead. But those in the mode of pure goodness, they understand Lord Krishna in Tattva, Bhagavat Tattva, that he's Satchit Ananda Vigraha. So first, those pastimes will create inquisitiveness and bring a person to the Tattva Jnana. And then they are eligible to come back home to Godhead. I will pause here, please, all of you. Your reflections, your questions, anything. It's all yours now. And I think, Harivind Prabhu, shall we pause the recording, please?
Okay.
I cannot see it here to pause. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu.